Welcome back guys to the new game review, and today we have the Tormented Souls 2. I waited 22 months for this game. This was the most anticipated I've ever been for release. Before it even had a concert date, I constantly checked my wishlist hoping to see one confirmed. And despite the first Tormented Souls being one of my favorite games ever, something that will never change in my heart. This sequel is better in almost every way: atmosphere, scope, gameplay, and overall ambition. The story isn't the best, much like the first game. There's weird time travel, a strange 14-year time gap, and elements that don't always make sense. But if you take the time to read the notes, dig into the details, and maybe watch a lore video afterwards, it all starts to click. It's no Silent Hill, but honestly, who could ever truly recreate what Team Silent did? Speaking of Silent Hill, the first Tormented Soul felt like the Resident Evil, with everything basically taking place in a single incoherent location. This one, however, takes more inspiration from Silent Hill by having you move through an entire town, a school, a cemetery, and a processing plant. It feels like the Silent Hill in terms of atmosphere and exploration, even if the story doesn't quite reach those heights. Like the first game, it's a clear love letter to the classics, but here the references are easier to spot and even more deliberate. This game has a lot more enemies than the original, and it loves to throw them at you at unpredictable intervals. One of my biggest scares came from an enemy clearly inspired by Dead Space necromorphs. It literally jumps out of a vent, instantly bringing back these Dead Space flashbacks. Props to the devs for making vents terrifying again. There are also more boss fights in this time. While the original really had only one, this sequel features several, one to cap off each major area. Most of them, except the cemetery boss, have unique mechanics or strategies you need to figure out to win, which I really appreciated. As much as I love this game, it's not perfect. First off, while the environments and scenery are absolutely beautiful, the character models can look awkward, especially during dialogue. But for me, the biggest issue is the length. My first playthrough was on standard difficulty, which isn't particularly hard for someone familiar with the genre, but the sheer length of the game makes it tall. My first run took around 20 hours, spread across 6 major locations with enemies lurking around every corner. By the end, I was exhausted. On a second playthrough, the pacing feels better, but if you're only planning to play once, that length and intensity might wear you down. Out of the 40 plus survival horror games I've played, this one was one of the longest initial playthroughs I've ever had. Another factor that adds to the fatigue is the lack of downtime. Because of how long it is, I wish that the game gave players more moments to breathe. There are a few calmer stretches, like moving through the quiet town after the chaos of the church, or my favorite downtime moment, walking from the sewers to the school. That section, with its ruined yet beautiful city, is one of the few times the game lets you exhale. The puzzles in this game are easier than in the first, which some people dislike, but I actually prefer. Maybe I'm just older now and can think more logically, or maybe they were simply designed better. In the first Tormented Souls, I constantly had a guide open. This time, playing on day 1, I managed without one. On my second run, I used guides mostly to grab the good ending and avoid the brute forcing knobs and switches like before. The ending are puzzles in their own right. The good ending is cheesy, but clearly a nod to Resident Evil 2. The way to unlock it, though, is a bit tedious. You have to backtrack from where you started all the way to the school. Quite a track. In the original, you have to solve the difficult puzzle, but at least it was already on your main path, not behind you. Meanwhile, the bad ending is just straight up depressing, like in the water ending from the Silent Hill 2. Nobody survives. So, let's talk about the final thoughts. No amount of anticipation or expectation can ever be perfectly fulfilled. It's probably immature of me to expect a small indie studio to deliver the next Resident Evil 4, a game I generally don't believe can ever be topped, and one I fortunately measure others against. But even if I didn't reach that impossible height, what we got was something truly special. After 22 months of waiting, Tormented Souls 2 isn't perfect, but it's passionate, challenging, and beautifully made. None of these parts feel half-baked. Well, except maybe the symmetry, I generally hate it, even on the subsequent playthroughs. If you love this game, you owe it to yourself to play this one.